Effa Manley was always observed by the public press and talked about by multiple people in her community, both through a positive and negative lens. Our research question asks, compared to how the public viewed Effa, how is it related to how women are viewed in present-day society? In Effa and Political Passing, Lisa Alexander writes about Manley's high involvement in her community. She not only was the first woman to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 2006, but before that, she fought for several civil rights causes after the Civil War. During Manley's life, she never clearly identified as a specific race. You could say that she, quote, successfully straddled the color line by claiming different racial identities based on the situation, end quote. At this time, white citizens had many benefits, so it wasn't a surprise for people who were legally black and looked white to decide to pass for white people. Manley admitted to doing exactly that. This caused political tension in her community because if she was a light-skinned black woman passing for a white woman, and if she were to get caught, she would have been lynched like many others who tried but failed to pass for white. She was also treasurer of the Newark chapter in the NAACP, and she often used games to raise awareness and funds for important causes. One major example would be, quote, she had her, quote, usherettes wear sashes that read, quote, stop lynching, end quote, and went throughout the stadium collecting funds, end quote, for various anti-lynching efforts, end quote. After she and her husband sold their Negro team after the integration of baseball, she continued to be a spokeswoman for the Negro Leagues by co-authoring the book Negro Players. This book promoted black baseball pioneers. Manley also lobbied the National Baseball Hall of Fame to induct Negro players.
Did you know who Effa Manley was?
Not really.
How do you think Effa would be viewed in today's world if she repeated her actions during the 1940s?
I mean, I think she'd be well received. I think she would kind of become like almost a sort of celebrity, like how team getting better.
Effa was known for her activism, and one of her main activism acts was she boycotted a restaurant which her players enjoyed to go to, but none of the employees were African American. How do you think the public would respond to a similar situation in today's world?
People are generally pretty receptive to activism, it seems like now. It is a just cause. So I think it would go over probably even more well now than it did then.
What can a woman do that Effa hasn't done to get inducted into the Hall of Fame? What's it going to take for another woman to get inducted?
Just like broadly, like for the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Baseball Hall of Fame.
I mean, if you ever had a woman to play, I'm sure the first woman player will be inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame if and when that happens. I'm sure any other high-profile female who had a spot in Major League Baseball will be inducted into the Major League Hall of Fame.
So this doesn't just involve baseball activism, or baseball, or just Effa in general, but who do you think in today's world is the Effa Manley of today?
The Effa Manley, someone like, just like a strong, prominent female role model, somebody like Hillary Clinton maybe for a lot of people. She's popular, she obviously has run a couple times for the presidency, the country's highest office, and that's something that's never been done by a woman, so she's kind of a big role model. Oprah, also someone that a lot of people probably look at as an important female role model today. She's built herself really like a dynasty of business just through her entertainment and other ventures. So.
Okay. Since the year 2000, 67 professional teams have been sold, and not one of them was bought by a woman. How long do you think it will be before a woman completely owns a team?
I feel like part of this, I mean, there's definitely women out there who have the means to buy Major League Baseball teams. It's just No one has yet, so part of it might be an interesting. We're kind of conditioned to see baseball as more of a guy's thing, so that could be part of the reason that no women own teams yet.
We live in a world where women have the exact same rights as men, yet there seem to be way more men who hold the highest position in their respective jobs. What do you think it's going to take for a woman to break this barrier to where it's more even between men and women holding these positions?
I mean, if you look at the timeline of women's rights from the dawn of human history, you see it's a relatively short amount of time that women have enjoyed the same rights as men, at least in modern societies like we see today. So I think that it'll take just time for women to get to some of these positions, especially these institutions that have been standing for generations past when women have enjoyed the same rights as men. So I think a big part of it is you're just seeing the turnover take a little bit of time to balance out, and part of it too is probably just that there's still some ways to go between fully equalizing everything.
I mean, I think she should be a popular figure because, especially with today's cultural climate, people like to see people in, gender, ethnic, and just kind of minorities in general taking positions of power that, have historically been held by minorities.
Effa Manley accomplished a lot of things while being the owner of the New York Eagles. She was the first woman inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. She was the first black woman to own a professional team. Effa was good for baseball. She cared for her team and the fans. In the off-season, she would send her players to Puerto Rico to keep them in shape and out of trouble. During the games, she would sit with the fans to talk to them and ask. One of her greatest accomplishments came when her team in 1946 beat the Kansas City Monarchs in a thrilling 7-game series. Effa Manley was a great person and co-owner. She will always be remembered as one of the most famous women in baseball.
Based on what you know about Effa, what do you think it will take for another woman to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame?
In order for another woman to be inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame, she's going to have to perform well for one, but it honestly probably be easier for a woman to be inducted because she's a woman and there's not, is she the only one?
Yeah.
So it'd probably be a lot easier for a woman to get into the Hall of Fame.
In your opinion, who is the Effa Manley of today's time period?
I'd honestly have to say Oprah because of just the stuff that she's doing with her show and all kinds of stuff, the public presence that she has.
Since the year 2000, 67 professional teams have been sold and not one of them was bought by a woman. How long do you think it will be before a woman owns a team?
That question's a little hard, but all it takes is one girl to want to do it. And I don't know if anybody's going to want to do it just based on the history of baseball teams being owned by men.
We live in a world where women have the exact same rights as men, yet there seems to be way more women who hold the highest positions in their respective jobs. What do you think it's going to take for women to break this barrier to where it's more even between men and women holding these positions?
They just got to have the desire to do it. If some women want to hold positions that men do, just go out and do it. It's not hard. They can get the same jobs. And all you got to do is work hard. I'm not saying women don't work hard, but all you got to do is set your mind to it, like she did. She was the first woman to own a baseball team.
Effa was heavily scrutinized by the media. Who do you think the most scrutinized person is in today's media?
Ooh. Probably our president. He takes a lot of heat from a lot of people for doing everything honestly.
What do you dislike about Effa the most, based on what you know?
I thought it was pretty cool that she was the first woman to own a baseball team, and I don't like the whole allegations she has against her are true.
While doing my research on Effa, I found out why the media decided to turn their back on her to portray her as bad for baseball. She began giving the players on the field the signals by crossing and uncrossing her legs. Once the media caught wind of this, they were not happy with her actions. The New York Stars News reported, quote, Effa Manley has long been a sore spot in the Negro National League, end quote. She became unreasonable with her players when her best player asked for a $25 raise so he could afford to get married. She quickly turned down that idea and would not negotiate. On top of all of this, Effa was reported to be having affairs with some of her players, and if her husband caught any wind of a player and Effa flirting, they were traded immediately.
Effa was viewed in many different ways throughout her career. When she first came into the league as an owner, she was a superstar who was loved by her team and her city for what she did. For her team, she sent them to Puerto Rico during the offseason to keep the players' skills sharp. She was also viewed positively when she participated in activism such as boycotts in her community. Not everyone enjoyed Effa's antics, and people didn't like the way that she flirted with her players by giving signals on the field inappropriately. But whether you liked how she went about her business or not, you cannot deny her success. To this day, she is still the only woman inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.